Happy Sunday, going live a few minutes early. I was ready and I was afraid. You know what? If I go try to kill 5 minutes, I might miss 15 because that happens a lot more often than I care to admit to myself. So better early than never, right? Yay! Happy Sunday night. Welcome back to my favorite time of the week. Hopefully it's your favorite time too. And we didn't really have questions this week, but a couple of comments, concerns. The first was from Christian Fraser, who has overcome or managed more health issues than even me, and that's saying something over the past year. And she has had some trouble getting back into a good routine. And that comment that I saw on Facebook. Also, yeah, I know I'm on Facebook a lot. I don't always remember to comment, but I do see what you guys post throughout the week. I apologize for not being in there more. That's another routine I guess I need some advice on getting back into as well. But that also led to a comment that I saw in another place, not specifically in Facebook groups, but about this new COVID strain that's coming around and how hard it has been for some people to have gone through a summer being indoors in a gym because it was too hot to be outside. Thank you, heat dome. To then finally be outside running again and then get hit with COVID. So I wanted to talk a little bit about both legitimately getting back into your routine after you had any sort of health challenge, but also how not to overdo it and a few things that I've learned along the way. Now, the first thing I'm going to say, and I know this is a controversial position, it's something that I've not really said very often. I'm going to beg you to wear a mask. Masking does keep you from getting it if you are around someone like me who is a carrier for life. So if I am showing symptoms of COVID, I'm going to put on a mask to protect the people around me. But also, it's not a perfect defense, but it's better than nothing. If you're around me knowing that I've had it before and I'm going to get it again, you do not want what I have had. You do not want where I've been. Mine isn't even more the extreme cases of COVID. I'm not shaming people who don't wear masks. I'm begging you to think about it in certain times and certain places, right? Masking is not, it's not perfect protection. It's like a condom. There's a time and a place for it. Be thoughtful. It's not a perfect protection, but it is better than nothing against some of those things that you just don't want. So I'm not ready to have that conversation with my children yet. Oh my God, y'all. My 11-year-old. I can't. Anyway, I should never have said the C word. That was going to trigger my brain into the stratosphere. I'm not ready to parent teenagers yet. So the thing about masks is that I've been wearing them more in public. I've been wearing them on the flights that I took in the past couple of weeks. And I think the reason I have not been sicker is because of it. But also, I recently had my colonoscopy. Go get your colonoscopy. If you are 45 years old, insurance will likely, whatever insurance you're on, if you have any sort of insurance will likely cover it, because that is the point when you need to start getting them. And I got to say, after 3 years of complaining and whining and moaning at every doctor who would listen to me and getting these haphazard diagnoses that didn't make any sense for conditions that I should not be a candidate for, we had been just sort of linking everything to long COVID. And come to find out in the wake of this colonoscopy, where I demanded an endoscopy as well because of all the stomach issues I've been having, turns out I have a massive infestation of something called H. pylori, something that is a test that you could do for yourself at home. It is common in people who have had COVID in the first two waves. We are more susceptible to it than most humans. A lot of people have it their whole life and not be symptomatic. But it turns out pretty much all of my symptoms and the slow degradation of my body can all be linked to this bacteria. It can cause extreme fatigue, iron deficiency, B12 deficiency, massive acid reflux, gastroparesis, POTS. Basically everything I've been complaining about or diagnosed with in the past 3 years can be caused by this bacteria, which I've just started the treatment protocol for. So if I could tell you anything, it would be, if anything that I've been going through resonates with you on any level, go demand an H. pylori, letter H, Pylori, two separate words, test. There are two different ways you can do the test yourself at home if a doctor just won't patronize you, but there's no point in feeling bad. the main thing that H. pylori can do is hit your metabolism really, really hard. It causes insulin resistance, which I've been having. I'm like, so you mean this type 2 diabetes might go away? They were like, well, I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying it never made sense for you to have it. I'm not real thrilled. So what does that have to do with everything else? COVID, we're still trying to figure out all the things that goes wrong with the human body when it has COVID. This latest batch really sucks. If you remember, I had it when I was in Telluride back in August. I would have rather spent, and that was when I started masking up whenever I would go outside. Not every time I walk out the door, but times there's a time and a place for it. I know for me, it's like the grocery store, pickup line, drop off at school, mainly because I don't want to talk to people. It's a very convenient way to have to like introvert in public. I got to say, I'm going to be keeping a mask forever for that reason alone, even when I'm feeling just fine. But I tell you that, I'm never going to shame anyone for not wearing one. I will urge you, though, if you can avoid this round, I have a feeling, remember, once upon a time, everyone who got the flu died. Right now, the flu is like this thing that we have to deal with. COVID's going to be a whole lot like that. So again, there's no shame here, but it does have what makes it different from the flu. Maybe it's the H. pylori. In all conditions, we're still trying to figure that out. But COVID does have some sort of long-term impacts. It can have some long-term impacts on metabolism, on energy production, on oxygen metabolism, which is one of the reasons we want a strong cardiovascular system, right? It's to use oxygen more efficiently. So I've not been able to run for a while. I still can't run yet. That's a combination of all the things that's going wrong with my body. So if you are like Kristen Fraser, coming back from some crazy undefined stuff and are having trouble getting into your routine, or if you are coming back, if you've just had COVID again and are part of the population who, like me, just have a harder time coming back from it, it's hit our metabolism a little more directly. Here's what I want you to know. Number one, less is more. One of the things that I don't like, and I know most people don't like based off of the 3-minute strength circuits that I've been assigning for as long as I've been a coach, you are going to get more out of finding one thing that you can do for 5 minutes and doing it 3 times a day than you are doing it in one 15-minute block. I know that feels annoying. And I know that feels weird, but if you look into the POTS, what they call people with my heart condition in our community, the vast majority of us were healthy before COVID. And the vast majority of us were runners before COVID. So reading more and more about this, about how it's linked to so many different other deficiencies and how it makes exercise almost intolerable due to the extreme fatigue that a lot of us suffer, that 5 minutes, 3 times a day chunks, it's not what we want to be doing, but the way forward for a lot of us has been, I have not started this yet. I'm not going to be starting it until I finish the treatment protocols for the H. pylori. But that's the thing. They call it the 5x3 method, doing 5 minutes of something 3 times a day, whether that's making the concerted effort to get away from your desk, go walk nonstop, not even thinking of it as exercise or starting a watch, but I'm going to go walk around the floor of my building. I'm going to walk downstairs to the snack machine, just touch it and come back. I'm going to walk for 5 minutes. I'm going to move for 5 minutes. I'm going to stretch for 5 minutes. I'm going to go into an empty conference room and do yoga for 5 minutes. That 5 minutes 3 times a day has been transformative for a lot of people in this community. And that maybe if we can't get into the routine of doing something for half an hour, maybe, just maybe, we could get into a place putting this on the calendar of taking 5 minutes 3 times a day. Try that this week. Report back and let me know how that goes. It is going to be this change does not change everything that I've ever talked about, where 20 minutes is better than nothing. Time on your feet is all that matters. 3 minutes 5 times a day is 15 minutes. Again, that is 20 minutes is kind of like where your cardiovascular system, like the crazy benefits max out. And so more is better, again, tapers off after 60 minutes. But if we can sort of trick your body into getting up to 15, then over time, it really doesn't take that much time to get you to being able to do 20 minutes in a singular block. So I would say, if you're having trouble getting back into your routine because of physical issues, it never hurts to start there. If you're coming back from COVID, this 5x3 method might be a thing to think about, only because the doing something for 20 minutes would put me flat on my back for about a week. That's how extreme the fatigue can be. Like, the things that take a lot out of me are really hard to explain to my husband and kids. For example, we went to church today. We got home at noon. I got in bed. I got out of bed exactly 2 minutes before starting this broadcast, because that's, I'm not leading church. I'm not walking that much in church, but the act of getting up and going can take that much energy out of me at times. And if that's where you are, I see you, I hear you. Let's try the 5x3 before we start trying to push into anything else. Try that for a week. Then we'll touch base on how to modify the next week, and what maybe extending it by a minute each time. We want to be really cautious about how much more we take on, because things like H. pylori that lead to metabolic disorders, things like COVID that lead to issues with absorbing and metabolizing oxygen, those are pretty serious. Doctors are going to say to you, diet and exercise, and yeah, that's a thing. But in a time that you are pushing back against metabolic change, more exercise is not going to help you. That's pretty bad advice. It's one thing when a doctor is talking to a sedentary person, or it's not like you just decided to stop, right? It was a confluence of factors that said doing more right now is probably not the best idea. So as we kind of move out of that, I really want you to resist the urge to try to prove something to your doctor, to try to prove something to the people around you. Less is going to be more. Moderation is going to be key. And finding little bits is going to be more effective than trying to do one hard thing. It's like going to the track and saying, I'm going to sprint. How much sprinting and why? I would much rather, if you got to a track, you just walked around it or jogged around it, especially if you're there in the middle of the afternoon when it's really hot and all the heat waves are radiating off that track into your face. It's not going to be fun. So let's find the thing that you can do 5 minutes, 3 times a day. Try that for a week, and let's touch base. I know I don't want to get to the point where I'm rambling, but do that try to do it one day and then see if you have the energy for it on day 2. If you do, try it. Most of the people in my community have been like, I can do this 5 days a week. Great. If not, take the day off. Ask yourself on Wednesday morning, do I feel like I could do the 5x3 today? If so, go for it. If not, don't worry about it. And again, I know it's really unsatisfying, and I know it's really frustrating, because everything's easy when you're fit and healthy, and when you're not, everything is really, really hard. The thing is, trying to force your body to do something really, really hard is not going to make you healthier. It's not going to make you feel better, and it's not going to shut your doctor up. So trust me, I know. So that's really all I have to say this week. If you're ready for the next round of Tiptoe, it is going to be starting pretty soon. If you're interested, reach out and let me know. I'm going to be sending out an email reminding everyone. Tiptoe is going to be slightly different this time. I did write a completely new program after some feedback from the last one. So hopefully this completely new program will be fun and work for you. And if not, try the 5x3. See, we're going to find something, and if null else fails, reach out. Office hours are here for that. Let's talk through what the options are. I've got office hours, several slots open for the week. Let me coach you and love you so we can all win at life. Have a good one. Tiptoe will be the same as last time. It's going to be 5 days a week. The journaling is 6 days a week, but it is still very gentle work. It's just different gentle work from the last round of Tiptoe. And I know you've done 2, so I wanted to give you guys something a little bit new. And congratulations on everything, Sarah. I know you might be beyond what Tiptoe is doing right now, but I just love any chance I have to interact with you and talk to you, and I love having you in those chats. Hope things are going well. Everybody, hop in office hours. I love you and I miss you. Give me a chance to see you. Have a good week.